All right. So, welcome back for those of you who paused and went and did your quick write. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answer, and we're going to move forward with the very next activity. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the key points. Again, you should have that handout. Okay? It's very important to have your handout because that way you can follow along. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to split my screen if I can and make it so we can follow along together. Yeah, I think that works. Okay, so I'm not sure if it's showing both screens, so we're just going to go from like this. So we're going to go toggle backwards and forth. Okay, when I was Puerto Rican, these are our notes, and we're going to go to our key points. The first key point is text to self connection. When we read, it is important to ask ourselves, do I relate to the characters in this story? Does the story remind me of a personal experience? When we ask ourselves those questions, that is making a text to self connection. A text to self connection is a connection between the story and your life experiences. You have made text to self connections when you read your favorite book and you think about how it relates to you in your life now. Okay? So if you look at the PowerPoint here, you see that certain words are bolded. They're bolded. The reason why they're bolded, because you see the exact same format in your daily notes. So the key points definition says text to self connection. And it says a blank between the story and blank. We go back to the actual definition, and it says text to self connection is a connection between the story and your life experiences. So the answer is in the PowerPoint. So here I'm going to put connection between the story and life experiences. Okay? Let's take away these additional. Okay, this is the connection here. And this is what you're going to do. That's what we're going to do. As you read stories, it is important to ask ourselves, and remember, we talked about that. Do I relate to the characters? Does the story remind me of a personal experience? So, do I relate to the characters? Does the story remind me of a personal experience? And this is how we're going to take notes going forward for when I was a Puerto Rican. Let's move on to the next key point. Key point number 2, text-to-text connection. The text-to-text connection is a connection between the story and another story that you have read. So as you read stories, it is important to ask yourself, does the story remind me of another book I've read? So this is not just because I need to get an A in Miss McCoy class question or skill. This is something that you will learn that you're going to need throughout your whole entire academic career. What that means for ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. And then when you get to college or university or tech school, or even if you decide to just go straight to work, you're going to need to know how to connect the text to yourself and connect the text to another text. Okay, so back to our notes. A text-to-text connection is a connection between the story and another story. Okay? All right. As you read stories, it is important to ask ourselves, does the story remind me of another story? So we'll type that in to our daily notes. All right. So we went over our key points. We understand the text to self connection, and we understand the text to text connection. Now, let's go over the criteria for success. Now, the criteria for success is what we need in order to complete this assignment and every assignment. In most assignments, you're going to see at the top of the page a criteria for success. Today, the criteria for success is we're going to do annotations. Annotations are marks that we make within a story, or doesn't have to be a story, marks that we make within a type of written text or literature, piece of literature, it could be a newspaper, what have you, that help us to remember something. So the things, if you look on your handout, you're going to see the criteria for success right up. Let's make it full screen. You're going to see the criteria for success right under your daily notes. And the first one says, underline the names of people, places, and things that help to build our background knowledge. The second one says, highlight details in yellow that stand out to us and help make connections. Third one, write a 10-word gist that summarizes what just happened. What is a gist? A gist is basically a summary of what happened. And then then we're going to answer the guiding questions in one complete sentence. And that's just what this says right here. Okay? All right. Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. We're going to read the story closely so that we could determine connections and comprehend it completely. Now, in your textbook, which I'm going to be pulling the stories from, for the most part, this is how the text look. So if you look inside of your Schoology account, you're going to see a document that says text features. You click on that, and it's going to take you to the document that I'm looking at right now. Now, you're welcome to look at it at your leisure, but we're going to go over the key points of that document right now. Okay? So, text features, you probably remember it from middle school, maybe even elementary school. Text features are tools that help readers preview and understand nonfiction text. And the reason why I felt like this was important to even start with is that before you even start reading a story, you want to look at the book. Look at what it shows you that can help you to understand what the story is going to even be about. Preview means to give me a little sneak peek into what the story is going to be about. And so this text in the actual virtual textbook give us those sneak peeks into what the story is going to be about. The first thing that we see is that it's a memoir. And let me see if I can make it bigger so that we can. look at it a little better. All right, here it is. It says memoir here. A memoir is a historical account or biography written by somebody who, from their own experience, from their personal knowledge, or they have some special sources that they went through. But for the most part, most memoirs are written from somebody's personal experience. So off the bat, we understand that the story that we're getting ready to engage into is based off somebody's real life experience with whatever we're getting ready to read about. You don't even have to read the story before you even understand that the story is facts. They are facts for Esmeralda Santiago. We know that her name is Esmeralda Santiago. We talked about it in the beginning, but Esmeralda Santiago wrote this memoir based on her own personal experience. The second thing that I noticed right off the bat was about the author. Now, it's important to just preview. It just gives you a little sneak peek into the author's life, which is important because it's a story about her life. So about the author tells us that Esmeralda Santiago is an author, an essayist, and she's also a screenwriter. She's born in 1948. She grew up as the oldest of 11 siblings. When she was 13, her family moved to New York City from Puerto Rico, and her mother supported the family on her own. Santiago went on to attend Harvard University and later founded an award-winning film and media production company. So why is this important? Because there are going to be some things in this story that's going to make sense now that you know who she is and what she did. Just that small glimpse, I promise you. We'll talk about that as the story moves forward. And then, you have the background information. Okay? The background information is bolded. Most headings that you see, these are about the author is a heading, a background is a heading, and they're also bolded. They are going to be things that are very important to understand. It doesn't want to stay on the page, but they're very important to understand while engaging in this text. It says the High School of Performing Arts in New York City, now the Fierro H. LaGuardia, High School of Music and Art and Performing Arts, was the first public school in the nation for the students with unique performing arts talents. It served as the inspiration for the 1980 movie Fame, which there has been a remake of it. It was 2009. So some of you who like theater and things like that, you may have saw the movie Fame. Auditions for acceptance into the school are highly competitive and rigorous. So right there, I'm thinking, Esmeralda has to be getting ready to tell me about something about the school, maybe how she got into the school, maybe something about the school, because they would not tell us the background of that information if it wasn't going to make sense when I read the story. So with that information, let's read. All right. So again, we should be, let me go a little bit bigger because I can't see that. And I know you can't. We're going to dive into it. And let me grab my notes, my handout. I have mine printed, but you